I've made over $1.6 million selling Moringa superfood products on Amazon. The first step to starting my Amazon FBA business was getting some package design from a friend who I gave some equity for in exchange. I registered my C Corp online, the cheap way, and only spent $200 and spent $400 registering a trademark for the US. The next step to selling on Amazon was to get barcodes, and I spent $90 on that, and $39.99 on an Amazon seller account, and spent $5,000 on creating samples. Once I received and approved the samples, I spent $50,000 to manufacture our Moringa Superfood bars, and then another $4,600 on shipping. Plus, there were a few other fees, so in total, I spent $61,000 to start my Amazon FBA business. And in just 8 years, we have made over $1.6 million selling on Amazon. The second thing is I'm going to share how I did it. Because even though I made a really big mistake that I'm going to share later in this video, my first Amazon FBA business still made over $20,000 in my first year, which is something I'm really proud of. And the third and most important thing I'm going to share with you right at the end, and this is the single most important thing to listen to, is the mistake that cost me $30,000. And this is a mistake that most new Amazon sellers make. So if you're thinking about selling on Amazon, stay till the end to avoid making this mistake yourself. My name is Lisa, and I have had an entrepreneurial spirit since I was very young, starting a dog walking business when I was just 10 years old. Years ago, I joined the Peace Corps in Niger, West Africa, where I was placed in a very rural village with no electricity, no running water, and not a lot of healthy food. As a vegetarian, I found myself feeling weak and tired off a diet with mostly rice. Then, some of my friends in the village's health center introduced me to this Moringa superfood. They mixed it into a popular snack called Kuli Kuli and said, "Eat this Kuli Kuli Moringa, it'll make you feel better." It had the most transformative impact on my health on anything I'd ever taken before. When I got back to the US, I really wanted to keep taking Moringa, but it wasn't available online. By starting my own business, I could help the people I worked with in Niger and small Moringa farmers across the world, and also enjoy a life of financial freedom. So, with the knowledge I learned from the Peace Corps and together with the incredible women farmers that I'd met in Niger, I started Kuli Kuli. Starting with our flagship product, we started selling pure moringa powder, which is amazing for preventing fatigue, provides caffeine-free energy, tons of protein, iron, vitamins. We also started selling superfood lattes, which are delicious, non-caffeinated ways to get great things like gut health or sleep better. And then we started selling our greens gummies, which are a great way to get more greens and energy into your life. Now make sure to smash that like button because I'm going to share my secrets for how I started my Amazon FBA business. Starting Kuli Kuli was way more expensive than I thought it was going to be. For those of you looking to start your businesses on Amazon, I know Travis has some great tutorials on how to start businesses on a budget. Check out the link in the description. It cost me nothing to do research back in 2011 because I just used Google Trends and Google keyword searches to make sure there was a market for my product. But today, there's so many great programs like Helium 10, which is a research tool that can help you find your product idea. The key to making money on Amazon is to understand that Amazon is a search engine, and people go to Amazon searching for things that they want to buy. The search terms they put in are called keywords. And Helium 10 can show you how popular specific keywords are so you can figure out how much consumer demand there is for your product. If you want to unlock the premium features for Helium 10, there's a link in the description. I made a deal with a professional designer friend that in exchange for equity, she would help to design all of the packaging for our initial Moringa Superfood products. If you don't have a designer friend, you can use Fiverr, Upwork, or 99 Designs. And the way 99 Designs works is that you submit your design requests and a bunch of designers respond, and you choose which logo and packaging design you like the best and go from there. And then I spent $1,500 to get photos taken of my product. I used a company called Suna. We shipped them the products, then hopped on a Zoom while they were doing the photo shoot so that we could refine, tell them to switch things up. And then we only paid for the images we wanted to keep. If you don't want to do all that work yourself, there's a company called FBA Creatives. Well, they'll design your logo, packaging, take photos of your product, do all the keywords and descriptions, and put it all together for you. There's a link to them in the description. I then spent $200 to register my C Corp. A C Corp keeps the business separate from the owners, and it gives you legal protection if you get sued because it has the business assets and the personal assets separate. My next cost was $400 for a trademark. This was through a lawyer friend. Then it cost me $50,000 for the first production run of our Moringa Superfood bars, and that produced 50,000 units. I needed to find somebody who was small and making bars at a small scale that didn't have a high minimum order quantity or MOQ, but also somebody who was big enough that could grow with us as we prepared for rapid growth. I used Google to reach out to dozens of manufacturers, calling so many people, trying to find the right fit until finally we found the perfect match. If you're looking abroad, you can use Alibaba. You can also use ThomasNet to find manufacturers specifically in America. Or you can use Google to type in the product you want plus manufacturer. So far, I'd spent over $52,000, and that was before getting the actual product. But I was confident looking at the market for Moringa products, the market for bars, that this was something that was going to work. And I know Travis has a great channel where he explains how to figure out if your business is going to work. And it's something we do today using Helium 10 to look at different product categories on Amazon, understand the market size, and then if the market looks ripe, launch them. Travis has a great 11-hour free course to help you learn how to start up. That's why I wanted to share my story here on this channel. But there's still some more costs that I had before we launched. I spent $5,000 on research, on development, and samples. And I still needed time in a commercial kitchen to test out and refine different ingredients. I was trying to replicate the Kuli Kuli peanut butter moringa snack that I had had in West Africa. But as I refined it over time, it turned into a bar, our Moringa Superfood bars. I tested out the flavors at a bunch of farmers markets and got a lot of great feedback. So I ended up refining the formula to include cinnamon, to bring down the earthiness, some chia and some cacao nibs to bring up the crunch. My next cost was $4,600 to handle all of the shipping costs. This included shipping the green Moringa Superfood from West Africa to our manufacturer in Washington State to get the bars produced. Then we shipped from Washington State to my home state of California to get the bars distributed and sold. We used a combination of sea shipping from overseas and trucking in the US. We didn't use air freight because it's much more expensive. If you ship by sea, it'll be a lot cheaper, but it'll take a lot longer to arrive. Then it cost me $90 to get my 3 UPC codes, one for each flavor of the bar. UPC stands for Universal Product Code. It's the barcode on the back of any product. If you need one, you can go to gs1.org and buy one for $30. And it cost me $39.99 to set up my Amazon seller account. An Amazon account fee is what you pay to be able to list and sell your products on Amazon and have access to Amazon Seller Central, where you can access reports on all of your sales. We don't have to pay $39.99 to sell on Amazon. There are 2 different types of account. There's a professional account and there's an individual account. So on the individual account, you don't pay a monthly fee, but you do pay 99 cents per product sold versus the $39.99 on the professional account. If you're planning to sell more than 40 units in a month, I would recommend doing the Amazon professional account. All right, ready to launch, and now I'm going to share with you how much I made in my first month in just a minute. But so far, I've spent over $61,000 starting my business. Finally, we were so close to launching, and after spending so much time perfecting our Moringa Superfood bars and trying to get everything right, we were ready to go. Plus, I've heard Travis talk about how there are 310 million Amazon customers worldwide, and Amazon's a $1.8 trillion business, so I knew I had a huge market. Roughly, I made $20,000 in my first year selling on Amazon. But it's important you note that this is revenue, not profit. I sold about 557 units and it cost me about $800. And there are a lot of fees you need to pay attention to when selling on Amazon. The first fee cost me $3,000. That's the 15% fee that you have to pay to be able to sell on the Amazon platform. For me, I paid $190 for Amazon to pick, pack, and ship my product out to customers. This is the fulfilled by Amazon fee. But for my first year selling on Amazon, I ended up making $15,960 in net profit. It felt amazing to be making money, but it was a steep learning curve. We did a big mistake with distribution that cost us over $10,000, but I'll get to that in a minute. The business was chugging along, but then the 2020 pandemic hit and we exploded in popularity as everyone from Martha Stewart to Naomi Campbell was talking about Moringa superfood products. But it was a double-edged sword. Selling in retail collapsed due to the pandemic, but our e-commerce business exploded. We had huge successes in 2020, and we were able to carry that into 2021. This was our biggest year yet. We made about $400,000 in 2021 alone. After taking out all of our expenses, we actually made closer to $263,000. This was all thanks to expanding the team and really utilizing all of the Amazon Seller Central tools. But I invested a lot of this profit back into the business because I really wanted to see us grow and reach new customers. We made close to $530,000 in 2022. After taking out all of my expenses, we made closer to $345,000, which still felt amazing. And because we were making great profit and because we had such momentum, I allowed our spending to go even higher. At this point, we decided to launch a new moringa powder product. It was in a smaller pack size and was designed exclusively for Amazon. We used the same manufacturers and simply changed the packaging and the size, and it quickly grew to be one of our top sellers. But I made a huge mistake that cost me over $30,000, and make sure you're paying attention because I'll be sure to reveal that mistake in just a moment. You don't want to fall into the same problems that I did. From there, with our new product launch, revenue exploded. We made about $650,000 in 2023. After taking out all of our expenses, we ended up making $425,000 in profit. This felt super exciting. And because the business was well established, I was able to start reining down and refining some of our AMS, Amazon Marketing Services spending, and really focus on profit. I cut all the advertising on some of our low performing products and put it all behind our top selling products, really focusing and doubling down on them. This changed the game for us, and we see this in our bottom line. Going to the future, we expect to almost double the business this year. So in just 8 years, we've made $1.6 million in revenue. But remember, revenue is not profit. After taking out all of our expenses, advertising, platform fees, we've made about $1 million in profit. Making this money felt incredible. I was helping thousands of Americans feel better, use moringa to power their lives, improve their digestion, get back their energy, and also supporting small farmers around the world, and at the same time, giving myself financial freedom. I could have earned so much more if I avoided these 3 mistakes. So listen closely. My first big mistake was communication. We weren't specific enough in our communication with our manufacturer. This was all because one of the main ingredients in our bars was almonds, but we didn't specify, was it roasted? Was it raw? The manufacturer chose raw, and it was the wrong thing. It ruined an entire batch, costing me $2,500. For you, make sure you're very specific in your communication, especially with your manufacturers. My second mistake was distribution. Initially, I thought that Whole Foods and other retailers were going to be the best possible place for us to sell bars because I saw bars in so many aisles around the grocery store. But we quickly learned that there were huge fees involved in selling our bars in retailers like Whole Foods. And those shelves were so full of bars that our bars didn't stand out. We realized that for a niche bar like ours, a Moringa superfood bar, Amazon was actually a much better platform because the fees were lower and people could specifically find it. This mistake ended up being great because it enabled us to really focus on Amazon. And my third and biggest mistake was not starting sooner. I spent so much time wondering if I could do it, trying to figure out how to do it. And if I'd started sooner, I would have made $30,000 much earlier. So start today. Don't wait. I've now built Cooley Cooley into a multi-million-dollar business selling hundreds of thousands of products just like this pure moringa powder per year. I launched the business of my dream, and I know you can too. So don't wait. Check out our listing. Check us out on Amazon, Cooley Cooley Moringa. See what we did. And I know Travis has a great course. There's a free course or a paid version that you can check out to help you get started on Amazon.